Hey, Lee Wolf here, and welcome to Tech Face On. We are currently live. As always, I have Mr. Richie Bello sitting next to me, digitally, of course. And today we have a special guest, Dr. Hasan, the founder and CEO of Matrix. How's everyone doing?
Great. Thanks for having us, Lee.
Thank you so much for having me, Lee.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Before we get rolling on the show, we're just going to run a quick video from our sponsor, Shop Smart Autos, on our VIN retention report. So we all know it's commonplace in the auto industry that customers will come and then they go. But why? Was it a better price? Did they go with a different make? Is it a sales training issue? Maybe it's a marketing problem. And if you knew why, could you take back a portion of that business? First things first, you need data. And Shop Smart Autos for dealers has your solution, the VIN Retention Report. Our VIN Retention Report can give you the inside scoop on VINs you held onto and the VINs you lost. But that's not all. What if you could know where the customers and your VINs ended up? For example, if Mrs. Smith purchased a vehicle from you 2 years ago and traded that vehicle in a mile away for the same make but a newer model, why didn't she come back to you? Now with that data, you can reach out. You can target her with a service deal that brings her back into your dealership and gives her the stellar experience she's looking for, while potentially flipping her back to your sales floor for a deal she never knew she could get. That's just one way our VIN retention report can help. So take 15 minutes with us today, and we'll show you how the power of data can increase your ROI with the Shop Smart Autos for Dealers VIN Retention Report. Set up your appointment today. All right, so I talk about this every week, but the video basically says it all. It's great to know how many cars you sold in a week, in a month, and how many cars the dealership down the road sold. But it's a very different game when you can understand how many VINs you retained, how many VINs you lost, and where those people ended up. That's a very powerful tool to have. And the VIN retention report through Shop Smart Autos is just an incredible tool that I can't imagine any marketing company that deals with dealerships or any car dealership wouldn't want to hold on to. So today, speaking of car dealerships, we are talking about cybersecurity. And I actually have an article up in front of me right now from Sonic Automotives and how their sales dipped because of the CDK cyber attack. CDK, that affected over 15,000 dealerships. Now, does it only cause a lack of sales? Yeah, it causes a lack of sales. There's your bloodline, right? There's your money. It also causes concern. It causes customers to be concerned. It also causes the potential for major lawsuits. There's all kinds of problems when you are susceptible to hackers that can come about. So we have an expert in the field with us today, Dr. Hasan, again from Matrix, and the CEO and founder of Matrix. And I guess where I would like to start with you, Doctor, is how you got here today. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Thank you so much, Lee. And thank you again for having me here in this show. So what my journey started when I was a researcher at the University of Munich. I was working with trying to bring in two technologies together. One is machine learning and one is cybersecurity. Try and detect the cyber activities with machine learning. That was my research. And back then, I was automotive cybersecurity. I'm talking about time around 2008-9. Automotive cybersecurity was not yet a thing. There are some research by those big companies like BMW, Audi, are funding some of my research as well. And nobody imagined that a car can be hacked. As a mechanical device. But today, we have a very different scenario. And the scenario changed in 2015 when these two gentlemen in a DARPA-funded project hacked a car remotely and took control over the car. and they're known as the Charlie Miller is the name of the researcher, and their research is pretty famous in the car hacking or automotive cybersecurity community. And from then on, we knew that you can weaponize a car. Automotive cybersecurity became a thing. You know, we used to see them, if you have seen Fast and Furious 8, where you take control of 1,000 zombie cars and you can make cars rain. So that's what became reality technically. When you have an ADAS functionality, ADAS means Advanced Driver's Assistance System. That means your lane keeping and all those. And if you can take over that car, you can weaponize it.
Wow.
And this is not only, you know, when some other domain, a cyber leak happens, then you lose your data, money, and in the CDK event that you just told me, I made a rough estimation, like 15,000 dealership was affected. The approximate loss is about $5.2 billion, wow, which is massive. Now, even here, nobody lost their lives, but when you can go inside the vehicle, hack a car, you can weaponize it, you can kill people. So we're talking about something very serious here. And that became, from that one, my research time, that became kind of like the primary passion of my research, because I wanted to make it real. Because autonomous vehicle is something that's coming, driverless car, but it's not happening unless you make it safe and secured.
Yeah.
So safety and security is going to be the enabler for autonomous vehicle, and I want it to be a part of it. So this is like my passion, my day-to-day thing.
Awesome. And so now you're dealing with the BMWs of the world, but now we're discussing taking your expertise down to the actual dealer level, and the importance of, and this probably sounds crazy to the audience until we explain it, hacking yourself, actually seeing if you're hackable and attacking your own situation to see how vulnerable you are. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Great question, Lee. So when it comes to cybersecurity, there are two approaches. One is the defensive mechanism. So you need to take all kinds of defensive measure, like, you know, you have to have an antivirus, you have to have a firewall, you have to have all the security measures that you need. But that's not enough, because, you know, the gangs, the cyber criminal gang who was responsible for the CDK attack, they're the famous gang known as the Black Suit Gang. These people are organized, and they're smart people. They're working. They're coming at you. They're working all the time. They're coming up with new exploits, vulnerabilities. We call them zero-day exploit. The whole world does not know today about something. Whenever it will be revealed on the first day, we call it the zero-day exploit. And how do you deal with such thing? Only defense is not enough. So we have this idea of concept of offensive security. That means you try and play the bad guy before the bad guy comes you. Hack yourself before the bad guy hacks you. And that's offensive security. We call it penetration testing. So you try and penetrate technically into the system, see what are your vulnerabilities. And once you discover the vulnerabilities, then you can decide. You don't necessarily have to fix everything. There's no such thing as 100% safe system. 100% safe system would be a metal cage with zero connectivity. Right. And you don't want that. You want to do business. Once you find out a vulnerability, then you have to decide, what are the implications? What are the impacts? And what are the risks I'm taking, and how probable it is? Right. Based on these matrices, you will decide if you'll fix it or you will live with it. But you have to know your vulnerability, and that's what, you know, hack yourself is. Sure.
Yeah, and it is important what you said, that you can never be 100%. I mean, our military's been hacked, our power grids have been hacked, we've all been hacked, most likely. You know, maybe it hasn't been necessarily used against us, or it wasn't completely successful, but in one way, I've been hacked 3-4 times in different ways, through software, through game systems, it's unbelievable. So Richie, what What are your thoughts on all this?
So I want to talk about this a minute. Let's talk what the great doctor said, okay? Which is this: cars get hacked. So let's talk about history. In the 80s, when you lift up a hood, you had 1,200 or 1,400 parts. In 2024, when you do this, you got at least 3,500 parts. How do I know that? Because the extended warranty covers all those parts when you lift up the hood.
Right.
They're all sensors. Sensors that have something that's called integrated circuit. Once that is sitting in a sensor, the great doctor's right. Guess what happens? You're going to get hacked. Once there's a connection of any type of technology, forget about it.
It's a doorway. Yeah.
Right. That's an open source. Boom. Okay. So that being said, dealers, you have a tremendous open source. Every dealer in the country has a little on the right-hand side. They put on the right because your eyeballs go to the right. And marketing, okay, your chat. That's an open source. You don't even know what happens. I go on there. I send you a link. That link hits the CRM because they're all connected to the CRM. Somebody clicks on there, an admin that has no idea. Oh, wow. They're telling us we hit so many views on our videos. Automatically click. Oh, now you got a problem. Now that thing festers to anything that's connected to that. If your DMS is connected to that, see you later. That's all they're looking for. That's it. That being said, based on that experience of CDK Global, and we know what the OEMs are saying in the US about that, everybody knows that. Some guys that are behind the scenes really know what's going on between that and the Reynolds companies, Cox Automotive. Everybody is alerted. Everybody is concerned. We're concerned. Here is, let's remove this concern. Mr. Dealer, protect yourself. Okay? Based on the VIN retention report that we have all this data, we more or less can say, more or less, what dealers are selling in any marketplace and what their gross profit is. Very easy. NADA Academy has that information. 20 groups have that information. We know 52, 5,300, CPL and all this. So you're protecting, right? It's like if you have a bank and you have the safe open, okay, with $1 million and you let everybody in, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to steal from you, right? There's no such thing as bank robbers no more. You never see a bank robber. Okay, why? Because there's no need to go to a bank to steal anything. Everything is done online. So in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, the bank robbing situation is bank robbing started depleting and depleting. And now it's non-existing. Of course it's non-existing because there are actually criminal enterprises in all parts of the world that they are internet bank robbers. Okay, that's what they do. They take it, they sell it out there to whatever country there is, and nobody knows about it. The problem with digital is this: you get the technology that belongs to a URL, they send it out somewhere, that goes on another URL. Good luck searching that. You're never going to find it.
Right.
You're on the World Wide Web. Dealers, that's one thing. The biggest issue is when you bridge the data part into consumer. In the transportation industry, you got a company called the Federal Trade Commission. You got a real problem now. Now, let's review this. Let's pay attention a minute. The average dealer, 65 or 70,000 on ads between Facebook, Google, direct mail, print, service. But take a portion of that and invest it in protecting you, but you're really protecting the consumer. Now the consumer confidence goes up. Consumers also get what happened in the world, also get what happened with CDK Global. Right now, consumer confidence is down.
Right.
Okay. Once that consumer confidence is down, a customer comes in and says, you know what, I'm not, they don't want to give you information. You know, you can feel very secure here because we have cybersecurity all over our company. While we're sleeping, they're looking at us. We have like guards, right? Security guards. So you can feel secure. Security guards equals secure. So, Mr. Dealer, you take that happened, promote it, be proactive real quick, get that customer in your showroom, and now share with them how protected you are.
Yeah. Show them that certification.
Show them that certification. Show them here you're secure. The next guy is not secure. Okay. Now, guess what? Your closing ratio is going to go up. Your conversion is going to go up. But not only that, you're really protecting the customer and you can sleep better at night. For that, all you got to do is fill out this form that we have and do a test, right? We want to help you check everything out, make sure everything works, and boom. If you're hackable, then you got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And everybody's hackable. As long as there's a connection, you are hackable.
Right. And
some people have it. It's much harder to get in. You live in a house that has an alarm system, cameras, and that. They're not going to come in here and do anything, right? You go to the next door neighbor and he doesn't have the alarm, the camera, and that. It's easy. They're going to go. They're only going in what's easy. Not necessarily. They're looking at speed. What's fast? Am I in and out? If you're in and out, you're hackable.
Right.
If you're not in and out, and there's like, wait, hold on a minute. They go to the next case, the next case, the next case. That's what they're trained to do.
Right.
What I feel in the automotive space, what is it? 1.2 million new consumers every month. That data comes out from IHS. All right. 1 million, 1.2. We delivered what? 11 point something million cars. Okay. While COVID, it was crazy and we didn't have any cars. So I want Mr. Dealer, Mr. General Manager, I want you to think about something a minute. You get hacked. Your dealership is at risk. Now, let's talk about something else. You don't spend enough money in marketing, you're also in trouble. So, when you spend the money in marketing, right, you're going to get that in. You take a smaller budget, that's not going to affect it because your closing ratio goes up. So, you spend less and make more. Why? Because you got cybersecurity protecting you. But when that customer comes in, the conversion on Google is one thing. But when that comes in, the conversion to the sale is going to be greater.
Right.
There's another thing here we haven't touched base on. Virtual BDCs. They have phone rooms for dealers that in the 2000, and it was it COVID. I did a live podcast at the Institute, Lee. I don't know if you remember, about COVID is changing the whole thing. The first 2 months into COVID, I flew to Arizona because the virtual thing started coming in because the workforce wasn't there.
Right.
So that product stayed, but it scaled tremendously. It blew up like automotive dealers, basically. Everybody is a virtual BDC company. The dealers give these virtual BDC people digitally, all their information for them to work, for them to do follow-up, for them to do all these things. So now that's another thing. So you have to really protect yourself, because what happened with CDK Global will happen more and more and more.
Oh, yeah, this is the tip of the iceberg.
It'll happen more and more. What are you going to wait for your dealership to get with that problem? And then lawsuits start happening. You're a dealer. You're not CDK Global. Now you got a whole problem. Now you got the Federal Trade Commission on you, consumers. I mean, you got all kinds of problems now. So I always like to learn from other people's mistake. That doesn't work too many times, okay? Because you got to learn from your own mistakes. Sometimes I try, but I still do what I'd call it today a senior moment, right? Because I'm an older guy now. So that's my excuse. But no, when I was younger, I made it too, right? Because I want to see for myself. Now, when it comes to this, that's a risk I'm not going to take as a dealer. I'm not going to risk my business. I'm not going to risk the good talent I have in the showroom that probably took me 20 years to figure it out. I'm not going to risk that.
Right.
Now I have a solution with the doctor. Now let's talk about the doctor. Let's talk first of all about the credibility factor. Doctor is in the OEMs internationally. Okay. The doctor has cybersecurity that he tried to merge with machine learning. Oh, wait a minute. Time out. See if I understand this. Cybersecurity with machine learning. Now that's a good twist that I see. Why? Because does he have a platform that actually learns when you get hacked and then puts process and measure in it? Because when you have machine learning, it starts learning, right? Just like a human. And it starts growing a whole different head than you can imagine. Okay? Oh, so wait. He's in the OEMs. So he's very well versed with BMW, Volkswagen, and the list goes on. Porsche, the list goes on. So he's been doing that for quite some time, right? So is he the right fit for the automotive sector? You bet he is, because he's already been doing that for quite some time, a long time ago, right? Has all the credentials, is a doctor. So he knows what he's looking for with that kind of customers. All he's bringing is a proven process in the cybersecurity world that already's been working for years in other parts of the world. I want you to listen to this now. We got somebody here that has a proven track record, and they're his customers today. And he's got a proven track record in protecting them. Now, am I, as a dealer, going to hire somebody like the doctor? Or am I going to hire somebody that his name's Joe, whatever, that he's into this now because of what happened with CDK Global? That's not what it's about. We're saying about CDK Global, what happened, we have a solution here on standby. Since the first day that I saw the CDK Global, I already had this solution. I already knew the doctor, right? We already had this solution. It was just putting the show together, bringing the doctor with his busy schedule together. First day that happened, I called his doctor. He says, Richie, I'm all in it. I'll be more than happy to help the industry because I know how you are and you like helping your industry. And I'm for helping the industry first. And second, let's worry about, of course, making money. But first, we want to help you. Dealer, we want to help you. Hear us out. We want to help you so that doesn't happen and you're protected. All right? And you got to start getting protected from the dealer sector. Here in the United States, the dealer sector is a very big sector. The automotive new car dealer is huge. Okay? And you're dealing with a lot of consumers. You got a lot of data happening back and forth, right? Why cybersecurity really came to the marketplace is because there's a word out there. That word is like this: big data. You know, dealers, general managers, you know what big data stands for? Black gold. That's what it is. Big data is black gold, and we have all this data all over the place. What do you think they're after? The data. How much is the VIN data? What could you do with VIN data? All kinds of stuff. What could you do with DMV data? All kinds of stuff. Data. So I want you guys to think about that. Why cybersecurity is so important, because it's all data, right? Why are cars can get hacked? Why? When you think about that. Tesla's cars, okay? The biggest thing with Tesla cars, it gives you all the data. That's what he started promoting years ago, right? It makes it more effective when they're building the next model. You know, more efficiency and more efficiency. You tap in machine learning there and forget about it. It's way more efficient. So let's talk from the manufacturer stand, why data for them is important. The more information you get, the more your product, you can build it better and better and better. For what reason? For the ROI and ROA. Return on your investment and return on your assets. Okay? Now, with the doctor, he is protecting your ROI and your ROA. Now, as a business person, that's invaluable. That is
like buying a house. It's like buying a house and not having insurance.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's invaluable.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that I'm generating let's say $3 million a month, okay? And I actually could protect that? I actually could protect that now. What? Really? Well, how much does that cost me? Because if I can protect $3 million, okay, why wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
It's more than 3 million, actually. You know, the implication is way more, because if a breach happens, first of all, you will not be able to operate. You don't know how much opportunity you're missing. You know, those 2 weeks, it could be 3 million, it could be more than 3 million. Then you have that press.
Where I'm getting with the $3 million is this: would you leave your safe open and not shut your doors with $3 million? Would you do that, Mr. Deal? Okay. The answer is no. Right. So I know it's in the billions, but let's say the average gross for a dealership is in 1 month, because that's what they look at. And we don't look at that, but that's what they look at. 150 cars, $5,000. What is that number, doctor? 5,000 times 150 cars.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
How much is that? Just say, how much is that?
It's almost 800,000 something.
800,000. Now let's talk about in the service department. Let's say the average ROs are 2.1, 2. Let's say 2.2 with everything. Let's say your customer paid labor there's about 200,000. Let's say 200,000. Okay. Let's talk about warranty, more or less 50,000. So you're at $1 million right there. Okay. In 1 month, $1 million. A small dealership, the average, 150, So you and I are talking about the AutoNation stores, 400, 500, 700 cars. I'm just talking about an average of 150 cars. So let's say that for me to protect that, I got to come up with 35,000. What do I sign? Let's talk now about how much does it cost to deliver those cars, the cost acquisition. How much does it cost? How much money am I spending on Google? 90% of the dealers hit diminishing returns their first 90 days. Why? Because of the sales team. Why is that? Real simple. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. When you get salespeople and you don't continuously give them education and train them all the time, they lose their enthusiasm. When you're green, you grow. Okay? You're hurting your business and you're not protecting your business. Now, you're doing this with the training, right? Your salespeople are losing the enthusiasm. You're hitting diminishing returns. Maybe what you should do is cut back your advertising dollars, make your sales team stronger, because now there's not so much traffic that they're burning through it, right? Yeah. And protect your asset more. And the doctor should be part of this process. That's what I see should happen, right?
And doctor, I think a lot of people see cyber attacks as this like missile coming in, it hits, they're in, it's done. But from what we talked about yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong with the percentage, but isn't it something like 80% of the attacks are coming from some, not necessarily on purpose, but someone letting the attack in?
Yes. So Richie actually laid a very amazing ground for the whole discussion. So I really like the bank robbery part you mentioned. We don't have bank robbers, the physical robbers, but yet every company pays a security company to protect their facility, but all their assets in data, you mentioned, data is black gold, data is new oil. They don't have anything to protect their data. They don't have to protect their main asset, which is their digital infrastructure. Now, there are two parts of it, as Lee mentioned, that, usually when there is an attack, it makes it easy if they have some kind of information, some kind of insider information. All the huge high-profile attacks, which we think is probably nation-state backed attacks, even those attacks had someone had access to their facility and stole a certificate or something like that. So there is this thing called insider threat. Your employees who are working, they have access to all your information.
Right.
So you have to have a system to protect your company also from the insiders. So insider threat is a real deal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And again, like we were saying yesterday, it's not necessarily that not a criminal that's within your facility. There could be, but not necessarily a criminal in the facility that's hacking your system and putting it out there. But it could be someone that just gets a text and clicks on a link,
Like
or
someone is not aware of it. It's like social engineering, or someone calls your employee and
right.
pretends to be someone. So let me give you an example. With the advent of AI, it's getting really taking another dimension. So in Singapore, there was this case that one lady in a company gets an email from their CEO asking her to transfer ungodly amount of money in six figure to a certain bank account. They say, okay, then she even looks at the email. Everything looks legitimate. Then she, okay, we can do that. Can you give me the instruction probably in person? I'll feel better about it. So what the person does is gives her a call that, hey, I can't be here right now in person, but we can get into a Zoom call. So they went into a video call, and they took 7 other people, employees from that company, in that call. They had that call, and after that call, the lady transferred that amount of money to that account. It turns out 7 of those employees in that video call, including the CEO, were AI avatars.
Oh my goodness!
So this is social engineering.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we have AI visuals happening, videos happening, but wow, holding a meeting.
Holding a meeting. I mean, they will, they'll use all kinds of technology. Now the technology gets better, they're getting better. And the only thing is we're not prepared for it. And it's not only the dealerships, there's so many companies, they're not taking cybersecurity seriously. They're not thinking of protecting themselves. So we have things like, big corporations do that. They have red teams. Red teams try to simulate an attack. They try to, make you prepare, warm up for the situation. Now, the ransomware kind of attack is very important for people to understand, because Richie made it very clear, because of the CDK, it was the loss was an estimation of $5.25 billion. There are 15,000 dealerships that were affected. Now, if you cannot work, you're losing money. If you cannot sell systems, if your system is hacked, you cannot do it. What does that mean? What does the ransomware mean? Means that somebody encrypts your data and nobody else can decrypt it except for them. And they sort of blackmail you. So, so once your data is hacked in that way, you have 3 options. You can either pay the money, which is like for CDK, I don't know how much they were asking for, but I can imagine that that'll be in billions.
Right.
And you don't want to do that because you're sending the money in the wrong hand. The second option is, if you were protected only, then you have the other options. That means you had a backup. You could go back to that backup. So you got to be prepared. Preparedness for this kind of attack is everything.
Sure. And paying them, it's only going to happen again.
Only going to happen again.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's way too difficult once it happens to you. It's like, a cure is much better than, prevention is much better than cure.
Sure.
Once you have it, it's so hard to get back. When people come to us where they've already been attacked, it's really difficult for us to help them. They just don't realize that they have to do something before it's them. They hear the story, but it's like, well, it's not going to happen to me. You're always wishful, right?
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Well,
I can't believe that. That's unbelievable about Singapore. That is the most craziest thing I've heard. So if that actually happened in one part of the world, this is a tremendous and important thing for dealers to protect themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And, I really, really am going to say this. Dealers, I've looked at a lot of websites, okay? All your websites have a chat. Get your teams together. Tell people about this. Start protecting that. Call us. People know where to reach us. Call us. There's going to be a marketing effort with this podcast. We're going to go on a lot of different platforms on ads. All right. Because I'm really concerned about my industry. I've been in my industry for a very long time, and I've done a lot, and I don't want my industry to have any pain. There's enough pain just doing business every day normally.
Yeah.
Why do we need to add more pain? Okay. So I want to do that to help you, Mr. Dealer. The doctor is the one that is our strategic partner with this. We're not cybersecurity. I don't want anybody to get confused. Richie's still that same Richie forever. I don't do that, but I have other partners that do, right? Right here, the great doctor here is unbelievable. Experience with the OEM side, right? And we're bringing that's very, very costly to the dealer. The doctor here has worked consistently on trying to make this work for the dealer. A lot of effort, a lot of work. Richie, I only deal with, with the factories. I only deal with OEMs at a different level. Well, he's bringing his product to the dealer level with the same value that the OEM has. I got to say congratulations, doctor, on that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how he did this. I've been working with him about 2 to 3 weeks about this product. Wow. Doctor, I can't believe it that you did the back and forth with me, with the team, with Lee, with Gene, with this, with that, and you figured out the metrics. And that's the other thing. One of the things that I already knew, how talented this doctor was with cybersecurity, has to do with metrics, right? Cybersecurity is all metrics, right? So now the doctor comes up with more or less the same metrics and the same type of protection that he does for the OEMs. Wow, that's a game changer. If I ever heard a game changer, that's a game changer. Lee, I'm going to tell you something. That's what impressed me about the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty intense.
And I got to say, congratulations, doctor. It's our honor, that we have a partnership, and strategically, you're the guy, your team are the people, because you have so much knowledge in this field. That's all you do. Wow.
Thank you. You've been very kind. I mean, it's no big of a deal. It's that we have worked from the research time till here with the OEMs. We were fortunate enough to do that. And when we talk about such a large company, we're talking about 7-figure deals. I mean, this is what our typical services look like. So I mean, obviously a dealership, they're a huge dealership. They're also a huge corporation. They have to, but no matter if you're a mom and pop dealer or a huge mid-sized dealer or a huge dealer, you have to have an infrastructure, a security infrastructure. And that security infrastructure, you have to have people, you have the right people. And automotive security is a whole different beast altogether.
Right.
Than many other industries.
Right.
It's a whole different thing. You got financials, you got consumers, information, you're connected to the transportation industry through your dealer management system. That's government right there. You're talking about government involved. You're talking about compliance from the United States government in the U.S. You're talking about a lot of things. You're talking about DMV. You're talking about title data. You're talking about a lot of different things that the government's got you tied in.
Totally.
Why? Because of the taxes in the transportation industry as a whole. That just doesn't mean the car business, guys. It's transportation we're talking about. There's a lot of data flying around that have to be protected.
Can I ask you a question, Richie? So the risk for a car dealership, in my opinion, is much higher than a company who are probably a pizza delivery company. Let me tell you why. So when there's let's say your consumer, your customer bought a car from you, and now they want an update, but they want something, and they bring the car to your company, and your technical guy goes to the car, will put an update. There is this thing called OBD connector that connects your laptop with your vehicle to get you the updates and diagnostics and all those. Now, there have been cases that through that OBD2 port, malware were injected to the car. There was an Audi garage scenario.
Wow.
And once malware is injected in the car, it's like Fast and Furious 8. They can kill people with that. So there is a liability issue. If something like this happens to you and can trace back to your dealership, it's
major.
Right.
Major.
Wow.
And anything that connects, and today repairing a car is all with technologies, and in the dealerships, really, there's a lot of stuff going back and forth. In the financial compliance, you also got issues there with cybersecurity, so you got to really, everything is web-based. You know what I mean? Once you become web-based, what all web-based stands for, Richie, is open door. That's it. That's open door to let people in. It's always been open door because I come from the school where it used to be no web-based when I worked for certain companies, and it was all ports and you did everything there. And once they said once they said web-based, that immediately meant to me in the 90s, okay, so now we got problems, immediately, because I know what it is, the web-based thing. And, you could see scraping today. Anybody can be a scraper of data online, a crawler. Anybody can do that. We have our own crawlers too. So anybody could do that. It's web-based. Now, you tried crawling it when you were with the DOT system, and you try getting data like that. It's not going to work. But once you're web-based, the door is open, and we're putting all our beautiful technology, all our nice technology online because we have to sell it, okay? So it has to go online, and we're not securing it, right? So this is where the security comes in.
Absolutely. All right. Well, do you have any closing thoughts, Doctor?
The closing thoughts would be this, this is your business. I'm an entrepreneur myself. We are so much passionate about our business that we focus too much on the growth marketing side of the business, which we call the offense part. This brings us money, and that's interesting. We often forget the defense. And it's so important for us to sometimes think about the defense before it's too late, because once it happens, the cost is too high.
Yeah. All right.
Right. And the biggest thing, Doctor, for me, my closing statement is we learned from the current events that happen, and every day there's a new information about it. This store costs $1 billion, this store, that. Major order groups are hurting with this. People are hurting. CDK Global lost a lot of confidence in the marketplace. They'll get it right back because they're a great company. It's just unfortunate what happened to them. But, Mr. Dealer, don't you let consumer confidence drop like that, because then you're just going right out of business. So it's very, 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 very unrisk. The risk is not there for you to do your test with your product. That landing page will be up and running by either today or Monday. There'll be a marketing perspective on that. We want to do this to help the dealers. We're not looking for anything but to help you first, Mr. Dealer, to really see what you got and how we can help you. And you would be surprised how we can help you. And that's my closing statement.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Hasan, for being with us today. Unbelievable plethora of information, and that one story you told about the AI situation there with the meeting blew my mind. I'm going to be looking at that when we're off the line here. And I actually have an interview in a couple of minutes too, because I hear there's a need for bank robbers. So I'm going to look to get into a new profession. But anyway, thank you very much again. And as always, Richie, thank you for having me by your side. It means the world to me.
It's always a pleasure, Lee. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Lee, for having me. Thank you, Richie.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless.
Have a good day.